Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about the topic IC engine components. So this is the unit number 5 of our subject mechanical system design. So what are the different components present in internal combustion engine that we will see. So here you can see one three-dimensional diagram of IC engine, which includes the various number of parts or components such as a piston, connecting rod, camshaft, then valve mechanism, inlet valve, then chain drive is also there. So we will see what are the different components present in IC engine one by one. So the various components present in the IC engine are: first is a cylinder block, second is a cylinder head, third is a piston, next is a cylinder, then piston ring, then gudgeon pin, or it is also called as piston pin, connecting rod, crankshaft, camshaft, cams, inlet and exhaust valves, fuel injectors, spark plug, crankcase, and flywheel. So these are the various number of components present in the IC engine. So these are the detailed parts of the IC or components of the IC engine. Whenever these are connected with each other, the engine assembly can be made. Now we will see each part one by one. So first part is a cylinder block. So you can see here in diagram, you can see the cylinder block is there. So the cylinder block is the main supporting structure for the various components. The cylinder of multi-cylinder engine are cast in a single unit called as a cylinder block. So this is called as a cylinder block, where number of cylinders are made for the engine. So the material for the cylinder block is cast iron, aluminum alloy. So these are the two materials used for manufacturing of the cylinder block. So cast iron for diesel engine that produces the stronger explosion, and aluminum alloy for gasoline engine that produces soft explosion. Or for petrol, the aluminum alloy is the material used for making or manufacturing of the cylinder block. Second component is a cylinder head. So here in diagram you can see the cylinder head. So this is the cylinder head. This is also called as a cylinder head. Then this is a head gasket, and this is the engine block. So in previous slide we discussed about the engine block, or that is called as a cylinder block. On this cylinder block there will be first head gasket is mounted here, and on which the cylinder head is mounted. So this cylinder head and cylinder block, in between that there will be the gasket to avoid the leakage. Okay, so the top end of the cylinder is covered by cylinder head, over which inlet and exhaust valve, spark plug or injectors are mounted. So here this part is called as a cylinder head, and on that cylinder head over which inlet and exhaust valves are there. So these are the inlet and exhaust valves, or spark plug or fuel injectors are mounted over that cylinder head. Next part is the piston. So it is a cylindrical component fitted into the cylinder, forming the moving boundary of combustion system. So it transmits the force exerted by the burning of the charge or fuel to the connecting rod. It fits perfectly into the cylinder, providing a gas-tight space with the piston ring and lubricant. So this is the terminology of the piston. So it is basically a cylindrical component fitted into the cylinder, forming the moving boundary of combustion system. Then it transmits the force exerted by the burning of the charge to the connecting rod. Then the materials for the piston are aluminum alloy, lightweight. Because of the use of the aluminum alloy, what is the purpose of use of the aluminum alloy for the piston material is it is light in weight, it has a good thermal conductivity, and it has a good tensile strength. So because of these properties, the aluminum alloy is the best suitable material for the piston. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the piston block. So this is a cylindrical element or component called as a piston. This is also another diagram of the piston block or piston, which is made up of aluminum material. Then here you can observe the hole is provided to connect the piston with the connecting rod. Through this hole, we can insert the gudgeon pin or piston pin. Then here you can observe the different slots which can produce for the fitting of the piston rings. The next one is a cylinder. So it is the main part of the engine in which the piston reciprocates to it and fro. So a cylinder is what? It is the main or heart of the, or it is the main part of the engine in which piston is reciprocated from one side to another side or to and fro. It also acts in transferring the heat from combustion chamber to water jacket in liquid cooled engine and combustion chamber to fins in air cooled engine. Means what? Cylinder consists of or it acts in the transferring the heat. So it can cooling process of the engine is carried out with the help of two ways. There will be the provision of the water jacket in a liquid cooled engine. It means it will be for a diesel engine, there will be a water jacket provision. And in case of air cooled engine like petrol engine, so there will be a fins are provided for the cooling purpose along with the combustion chamber. Then the material for the cylinder. So the cast iron is the best suitable material for the cylinder because of the following properties. It has a good wear resistance. Then it has a good damping behavior. That is nothing but it can absorb the shocks. Then it has a high thermal conductivity. And it is somewhat inexpensive as compared with the another material with this property. Therefore, because of these properties, the cast iron is the material used for the cylinder. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the cylinder of a air-cooled engine, where for the cooling purpose, the fins are provided along with the cylinder. So this hollow portion, cylindrical hollow portion is a cylinder, and inside it, there will be a piston reciprocates inside the cylinder. This is again a second diagram which represents the cylinder. Next is a piston rings. So the piston rings fitted into the slot around the piston provide the tight seal between the piston and cylinder wall, thus preventing the leakage of combustion gases. So there are two types of rings are there. One is a compression ring, is upper ring of the piston, which provides airtight seal to prevent the leakage of the burn gases into the lower portion. And second one is the oil ring, is the lower ring, which provides effective seal to prevent leakage of the oil into the engine cylinder. So these are the two piston, there are the two piston rings. One is a compression ring and second one is a oil ring. Then the material used for the piston rings are cast iron and steel alloy. Coated or heat treated are there. Then it has a high thermal conductivity property and it has a good wear resistance. So because of this, the cast iron or steel alloy material is used for the piston rings. So here you can see the diagrammatic representation of the piston ring slot. So here you can fit the piston ring, that is a compression ring, two or three compression ring, and one ring oil ring. to prevent the leakage of the oil. So this is the again the diagrammatic representation of the piston ring. So this is the two compression rings and one oil ring is there, which is used in the piston. Next part is the connecting rod. So it converts reciprocating motion of the piston into the circular motion of the crankshaft into the working stroke. The smaller end of the connecting rod is connected with the piston by gudgeon pin, and bigger end of the connecting rod is connected with the crank with crank pin. So this is the use of the connecting rod. It transfer or it converts reciprocating motion of the piston into the circular or rotary motion of the crankshaft. The material used for the connecting rods are steel alloys. So it will be manufactured by drop forge process. Titanium is also a material used for the connecting rod. Then aluminum is also the material can be used for the connecting rod. The properties of these materials are it is a light in weight, then flexible, which will be the aluminum, and for titanium it will be having a high performance. That's why these materials are used for the connecting rod. Next, this is a diagrammatic representation of the connecting rod. So you can see here two eye ends are provided for the connecting rod. So this one is a small eye end and this one is a big eye end. So this small eye end is connected with the piston and this big eye end is connected with the crankshaft, so that the reciprocating motion of the piston is get converted into the circular motion at the big end of the connecting rod. And this is also the assembly of the connecting rod and piston. So this is portion is called as a connecting rod and this above component is called as a piston. Then here small end is connected with the piston with the help of this pin. So gudgeon pin is inserted here and piston block or piston is connected with the small end of the connecting rod, and this big end is will be mounted on the crankshaft. Next is a gudgeon pin, or it is also called as a piston pin. It forms the link between the small end of the connecting rod and piston. So here on piston, there is a circular slot is provided to insert the piston pin. So here piston pin having a definite diameter and length is inserted between the piston and small end of the connecting rod. So here in previous figure also you can see the assembly. So this is the connecting rod, small end of the connecting rod. This small end of the connecting rod is connected with the piston and the motion of the piston is transferred to the crankshaft through the connecting rod by connecting the connecting rod small end with the piston block with the help of this pin called as a gudgeon pin. So this is the link, or it is the component used for making the link between the small end of the connecting rod and piston. So here we'll stop the some of the parts of the IC engine. In next lecture we will see the remaining parts introduction of a IC engine.